Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's the Horror Syndicate Discourse. We're on episode 15 today, and we're going to talk about a movie that is, in my opinion, very good. And I think sometimes people misunderstand it or get distracted by the kid. Right, Seth? um, Samuel. It's a very good movie, The Babadook. The first time I saw it, I really liked it. But it's funny because it kept popping up on Netflix back in 2014, 2015. And Elizabeth, my wife, and I kept making fun of the title, The Babadook. What is this? What is the Babadook? And we could always watch The Babadook. And we couldn't find anything to watch. And finally, we didn't have anything to watch, so we watched it. And we were like, holy shit, we shouldn't have made fun of that movie. It was really, really good. Both really enjoyed it on the first watch. I bought it immediately. Scream Factory had a Blu-ray that looks like the book, which I have in the other room. But I liked it a lot.
Same.
Curious to know what you guys think of it. I know Seth was a first-time viewer yesterday, and I know Jared has seen it because we discussed it years ago on the show, maybe for a hot minute. Um, hello, and please comment. Let us know what you think of the Babadook in the comments below. If you hate it, tell us why. I'm curious. If you love it, tell us why. We're going to start off with the conversation and talk about maybe first impressions. My first impressions were I loved it. Let's start with Jared on this one. I'll be right back. I forgot to get my drink.
Go get your sweet tea, you sweet ass. Okay.
You know what's getting.
So I was actually fortunate enough to see this on the big screen back when it came out. It had kind of a limited run in the States. I saw it in a little artsy fartsy theater in Kansas City. It's like, 16 seat reclining chairs and craft beers galore, that kind of thing. I was very impressed by it. Like the initial viewing, some of those themes and references that you kind of think about after you watch it a couple of times didn't really hit me at first until the very end. Then I kind of started putting two and two together. But one of the things that really grabbed me about that movie was Essie Davis's her portrayal as the mother. Like her performance was fucking amazing. Seeing how she teetered, like you get the vibe from very early on that she is very annoyed with her child and very reluctant to, have this child because of the loss that she had in the beginning of the movie when her husband died in the car wreck on the way to give birth to him. So she kind of just had lingering pain towards him, like, you are the reason my husband's dead. Like, you just get this vibe the entire movie. And I don't want to take the mic too long, but it wasn't until I watched the movie a couple of times that I kind of started realizing that there are like some themes going on here, which we will get into a little later. But obviously it's like, this is a movie about a family unit that will conquer all to stay as a family unit at the bare minimum. You'll throw in all the other stuff that we'll discuss here in a little bit, I'm sure, but getting to see it on the big screen when it was kind of like this, nobody really knew about it. It was kind of like when I saw It Follows on the theater. Like, it didn't have a huge release either, and it was just kind of like it kind of skirted under for a little while. And now magically everybody has opinions about these two movies that came out in the same year, and they're both polarizing. Either way, you love it, you fucking hate it. Like, it's something weird about these two movies that came out the same year that always kind of intrigued me. But I fucking loved it when I saw it. But I'll let somebody go ahead before we get into the nitty gritty of all the themes and stuff involved.
Yeah, I want to go with Nate next. Seth saw it yesterday, and I think I knew how Jared felt. I'm pretty sure I know how Nate feels. Seth, I know, liked it, but he hasn't gotten a chance to elaborate. That's what I'm going to save him for last. Go ahead, Nate. Tell us your first impressions.
Yesterday was actually the second time I've seen it. I saw it the first time with company. So you know how that goes.
Mhm.
And I got enough of it that I could tell how good it was, like well made and everything. I don't know if I completely absorbed it because of the distractions that were with me, because it was like everybody else wasn't really totally engaged in it. And so I don't know why it took me. I bought it like a year or two ago, and I just hadn't gotten the chance to watch it again. So I was really looking forward to this show because I wanted to see it again because I knew it was good. Because since then I've seen Jennifer's second film, The Nightingale, which is just fucking phenomenal, and she is one of the best filmmakers, period, today. And so and it only solidified that watching it last night again, Babadook. And then I watched her. This was a short film she made actually in 2004 called Monster, and it's based on that. And that's on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. She is just fantastic. I watched her masterclass today. I just love that woman. I think she's so damn talented, and she's got 2 amazing feature films under her belt right now. She was talking about Guillermo del Toro gave her a gift, like a story to make, so she's going to make a short film based on a Guillermo del Toro story. But yeah, after seeing it now, I knew it deserved to be in that masterclass of modern horror that some people choose to say is garbage and doesn't work. I think it's a masterpiece. William Friedkin said it was the scariest movie he'd ever seen. When the Exorcist director says that about your film, who cares what the fuck anybody else thinks?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, Jared, both of you guys brought up a good point about these movies that are kind of like artsy, art house type movies, with It Follows and the Babadook. There's a bunch of them in this past decade. Midsummer, Hereditary, kind of all lump into the same category. I smell an episode about all these movies. These are good movies, I think, for the most part. And Seth didn't get to tell us about Midsummer. He finally saw that the other day.
Yeah.
So there's a episode for sure about all these movies that may be misunderstood, and I think that's part of the problem with the Babadook. Sometimes it's a little misunderstood. I still want to know why. If anybody's watching, let us know how you feel about it, and let us know why overall, or what kept you from liking the movie. A lot of people say the kids. So with that, I'm going to roll over to Seth to get his initial reactions from last night. Fresh reactions.
Yeah, so I like the movie. I'm hearing some feedback there. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty effective horror movie. So I don't quite understand the hate that it gets. I could see where people are annoyed. Like I said before, I'm gonna sound like a terrible human being here, but I was not rooting for the kid at all in the final act. I was kind of hoping for the thing that happened in the book. And that's terrible because I'm a father. But I really liked the mother, the actress that played the mother, and she did really well with displaying her grief, being also overwhelmed by having a kid with special needs, pretty much. And then when she gets best, I thought she was really as that side of that character. And I thought that was really kind of a fun moment. Like when she told him, if you want something to eat, he can eat shit. I was like, yes, that's fucking awesome.
That scene so illustrates the kind of the hopelessness of sometimes it is to be a parent. Like when you're so fucking tired. Because she just wants to go to bed. She's even told her work to go fuck themselves, basically.
Yeah.
And she just wants to sleep. And he comes in as soon as she lays down. I'm hungry. He's like, we've all been there. We've all been like, I just want to fucking sleep. Can I just get some quiet? And you're like, can you get this for me? Can you get that? So you don't say that, but we've all had that feeling like, please just go away. Let me sleep. And you can't. And being a single parent, of course, like, what do you do? Like, you can't say, can you do this? So, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, that scene is like, I felt that scene. Yeah.
That's why that's my latest Facebook post.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's one of the things I thought was really effective about this movie too. Is there's a really heavy emphasis on just her being overwhelmed by, like I said, having this kid who's very clingy, very, I guess, kind of like special needs in a way. Like he's always wanting to be there, and you kind of feel that sense of relief, like when he first gives him like the tranquilizer, and she wakes up and goes to his room and he's still sleeping. That relief on her face, I felt that same relief. I'm like, oh, that kid is going to be quiet for a while, because he is a little hard to take, and but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but yeah, anyway, I did enjoy the movie. I don't know if I can quite say that I loved it, but I did really like it, and shame on me for putting it off for so long.
Sometimes it takes us to do an episode on something for us to even watch things. Even it happens to me too. I mean, you said yourself last year there's a lot of movies you need to catch up on anyway in Midsummer. By the way, did you like Midsummer?
I did. I thought that was really good.
And you missed the
It was
episode.
a really good movie.
Yeah,
I know
it was good. I think you were off that episode, weren't you? Because wasn't Bloody Billy on that one?
Yeah.
Billy
Yeah,
I wasn't on there either.
Oh, wow. Huh. Well,
I turned traitor and I went to the.
Oh, is that what happened? That's fine. We're gonna have to talk and do an episode on all these
Terminator
movies.
RoboCop.
Oh, that night. I remember that. That's worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. Yeah. The kid seems to be the most divisive point in people, and like he was out of control. I mean, he pushed that girl out of the treehouse. I mean, she kind of deserved it, in my opinion.
She fucking deserved it.
But if you're the parent looking on the outside, you just see her fall from the
Right.
Yeah.
She said I didn't have a dad.
On that. I have a different.
But he
take
never
on that
explained
boy
what
after
she
watching
said.
The second time. After the second time, I have a different take on that boy. And, okay. My take is, I think he's the hero of the film. And here's why. This little boy has gotten nothing from his mother. No love, no affection. And that's what children need. Mm-hmm. And even though she treats him the way she does, and it just doesn't, like, she just can't love him because of the pain that it causes her, because she lost her husband. Yeah. She does not give him the affection and the nurture and the care that he needs as a child to function right. And still, to a fault, he is trying to save her and defend her, kill the monster, keep her safe. The whole time he's like, I'm going to kill the monster for you, Mommy. I'm going to do it. Like, he is always still there, still willing to be accepted. He just wants acceptance and love, but he doesn't get that. It's her failure that he's that way. It's not his fault. He's just he's in pain. He still is there to help his mother and fight and protect her. And she is denying him. She won't even let him be around his father's memory.
Nope.
Like, she's erased his father, so he's not even allowed to have dad or even know who he was or the memory of his dad, because it's too painful for her. Mm-hmm. So he's actually very lonely, I think.
When everybody else treats him like an outcast,
and everybody else treats him like shit, like he's a weirdo, and it's because he's just not being. He's just not been raised right. He hasn't gotten that affection and that love and support that he needs.
Right,
and he loves her like she needed it.
Yeah,
so
I think if you look at it from that perspective, he's actually it's a heartbreaking situation with that little boy. And at the end of the movie, he's calmed down because she's finally loving him and being there, and she's faced her grief. Because the whole movie is she's not facing or dealing with her grief. She's pushing it away, holding it away.
And that's right there with everybody she talks to, her sister especially. You know, her sister points it out. Like even in that scene where he pushes his cousin, I guess, out of the treehouse, they're talking about it's been 7 years. You need to face this and move on or whatever. I know how it's not easy to do that, but
It's
still
not easy. But you're also sharing a birthday and a death day in the same day. Like, God.
It's got to be tough. Yeah, I mean that the climax of the movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! You know, he finally gets his own birthday. You know, he doesn't have to share the day. But yeah, that's a good point, Nate. I mean,
So I mean that's a really good point. So I guess like the Babadook itself is a metaphor for up to it was her, you know, conquering her inner demons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a representation of like the grief that she's pushed down. It's allowed this to her dark side to manifest, and like even like when she sees that when the Babadook's looking her in the end, and it's from his point of view or the Babadook's point of view. Her face lights up, but it's the same way the car lights face when they got hit by the car in the very beginning. You see her light illuminated like that. That's what the Babadook represents, is that moment, that grief, that the moment of death. The same light hits her like the car lights that hit them when they get hit. So yeah, like you said, when like you were saying before the show, Ray, if you want to go ahead and share that with what your wife said of the finale and the meaning, because she was dead on. She's got it. About
how at the end of the movie, for anybody who hasn't seen it, sorry, she goes down to the basement to feed her demons, essentially, with the bowl of worms or whatever, and it's locked in the basement. Basically, my wife said after we saw it, because I was like, wow, that was a good movie. I didn't take it on this level. She's like, that was her grief. She's saying that you can, how did I put it? You can deal with your grief, but you can never be rid of it, kind of. I said it differently, and now you put me on the spot, and I'm all nervous. I'm all twitchy and shit.
It's great. Grief is always there, but you can't let it master you. You can't let it own you and control you, and that's what she was doing. She was so afraid to face it and deal with it that she wasn't living life. She wasn't being the mother and the person, the human being. She was kind of in a walking sleep. Sleepwalking through life. And once she faced it and dealt with it and said, all right, this is a part of me, I'm never going to get rid of it, but I've faced it, that's when she's able to move on through life and be the mother she's supposed to be, the human being she's supposed to be at that point.
And in a way, her feeding the Babadook is her finally getting control of her grief.
Yeah, because by the end, she's in complete control. It looks like she genuinely cares about the kid that throughout the entire movie she was pushing away, and even her sister said that she didn't like him either, didn't want him around either, you know. But the changes completely at the end of the movie. It's great.
And she's so embarrassed by him because of that. So she takes that shit out on him, and he feels like the weirdo. Again, he's a huge victim. Really, in the whole story, is like I don't know any child, 6-year-old kid is going to be able to cope with that lack of love, and then everyone else thinks you're a weirdo. You don't have a dad. You're alone with your imagination. You're going to turn to imaginary friends. You're going to turn to your imagination. Is going to be your world. So the whole fighting monsters and come on, the kid made a crossbow. This kid's cool. Slingshot backpack.
That slingshot backpack was
Travis,
awesome.
What are you doing?
It was.
He's like Data from Goonies, you know?
Yeah. Maybe I should cosplay as him. Make my own slingshot backpack. Yeah, watching it the first time for some people, and a lot of times it is the first and only time. I do think they don't get the movie. I'm not saying that you didn't get the movie, Seth, at all. I don't because you were last night. It seemed like you were. What's that?
Well,
I didn't get it the first time. I only got that the second time watching.
Elizabeth hit me with that lightning bolt. I'm like, holy shit, that changed my whole perspective on the movie. Go ahead, Seth.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I will admit, I did not get the movie, when I watched it last night. And just already from what we're already talking about from discussion, we're only 20 minutes in, but you guys brought up a lot of good points about the themes and the grief and, the kids. So, it's cool learning this stuff from you guys because I'll understand it. You know what I mean? I guess just from the one-time view, that's why some movies require multiple views or whatever, or even just further discussion. But you guys have points that I can pick up on, so this is cool.
Yeah, I think I agree. Every movie needs and deserves a second day in court because so many people watch it. And I mean, that's the thing. If something's not hitting you in the face and you're watching it passively, or I'm not saying you were at all but most people we know just watch their movie in between phone flipping. Or pauses or whatever, and they watch 10 minutes and they go, well, this is boring and bullshit, and I hate this kid. This movie sucks, and I can't wait to go on Facebook and tell everybody they're wrong about this piece of shit art film. And I think that's how a lot of people watch these movies. And some people say, well, I don't. The other thing is, some people just don't want that to deal with that in their film viewing. They want to escape. I hear that a lot. I don't want to deal with these feelings and these themes and these things that are, hard to deal with. I just want to watch Jason chop people up. And I can't fault people for that, wanting to escape the pains and things like that.
Yeah.
Because this is not an easy movie to sit through, especially if you can relate to it. Because it is, again, sometimes it's really hard to be a parent and to, you always feel that you're failing or you're making mistakes, and then there's just that. She's dealing with postpartum depression. She's dealing with her loss of her husband. She's dealing with the hopelessness. I don't have any. She's going through sleep deprivation. She's unhealthy. She is completely unhealthy. She needs sleep. She needs rest. And in order to get it, she has to face what she's afraid to face and what she's denying and pushing away, holding down. And, also there's the whole, they never really address it, but she pulls her tooth out. I'm like, well, maybe she's got also like an abscess tooth or something, which, there have been people who've gone crazy from pain of dealing with stuff like that. So I think I read once about a mother who wrecked her car, basically committed suicide with her kids in the car, and they found out that she had an abscess tooth and it had been bad, and that's what caused it for her to do that.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of little things like that are peppered in through it. And
it feels like the further the movie goes, it does. And I love a good descent into madness, and that's what it feels like. From the get-go to this movie, and she's been doing that for almost 7 years. Real fast, I'm leaving this on the screen because I want to know if this is true. What do you guys think? Every movie deserves at least 3 chances. You think that's true? Is 3 too many?
That's the baseball rule. 3 strikes, you're out.
That's right.
That means I have to watch Mandy one more time.
I think a movie, you watch it, you get your initial reaction. You watch it the second time, you get another perspective. On the third one, you should watch making ofs and listen to the director talk about it, listen to the writer talk, so you get their perspective, because that's the thing. Movies they're not supposed to be your perspective. Everybody wants everything to be from their fucking perspective anymore. And how dare I get somebody else's perspective? And it's well, that's who you need to learn from. You need to listen to what that artist, because again, it's all perspective. Everything is how we watch it. And I think 3, I wouldn't argue against that. I think 2 could do it. 3, if you don't like it after 3, hey, you're probably not going to like it.
It's generally 2 for me.
Electric Company said 3 is the magic number.
Three is my magic number. I mean, I'm the third.
It's a
My
Tootsie Rock.
baseball number was 33. So maybe
Was that Schoolhouse Rocks that did that?
It's a
magic number.
Yeah, and it's a Tootsie Roll Pop law, you know.
Oh yeah.
How do I get to the middle? How do I get to
Three.
the center of this movie?
That owl did not even get to the center of the damn Tootsie Roll Pop. He bit the head off the thing.
So you got to cheat. Ain't got time.
Yeah,
for
he
this shit.
cheated. I guess I'll watch Mandy one more time. Criminy. Yeah, I know. I saw that. When I saw that, I was like, God damn it. And then he says 3 times, "Thanks a lot, Keith. You're haunting me, even though you're not on the show anymore." Yeah, I'll watch it one more time. It's still on Shudder, isn't it? I don't want to pay $5 for it. I still haven't watched Drive yet. Or is it Driver or Drive?
Drive.
I always forget.
Drive.
No, there's a game called Driver, a video game, right?
Yeah.
Anytime he wants to, anytime I want to haunt it, he's going to haunt me. Have you seen Has he seen the Babadook? He ordered it. He said he ordered it.
He said he did, yeah.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen it since it came out.
When he was 5.
He was 5.
Yeah. His grandpa probably took him to the theater to see it. And Mom was, laying into herself at one point.
I wish I'd seen it in the theater. I'm kind of envious there. That would have been...
Me too. Oh, I didn't hear about it until I was just, tooling around on Netflix one day, and there it was. And of course, I had the reaction like, "What the hell is this?" Like that was my first. I was like, "This title's dumb," but I mean, it's not. It's actually really cool, especially the way they do it. The Ba-ba-dook. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
I think the title is it's a play on the Bad Book, the Babadook, the Bad Book, and it's play on I think in some kind of language. I don't know what language it is. I think it says he is coming. He is coming indeed, or something like that.
Mm. Yeah, I remember seeing it. Like Ray, you were away from the computer, but I saw it like a little artsy fartsy theater in Kansas City as a double feature with Whiplash. And we saw Babadook first, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna sit and watch Whiplash now." But then I was like, "Holy fuck, this is a great double feature."
Yeah, Whiplash is a phenomenal movie.
Whiplash, Mickey Rourke.
No, it's the German movie with J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons and
I'm joking. He played Whiplash, and I've never seen Whiplash. Honestly, if it's the movie I'm thinking of, it didn't look like anything I wanted to watch. But I guess maybe I should add that to the list as well. I'm the new Keith.
It's not a horror movie, but I mean, it's.
Oh, I know. I don't even watch horror movies. That's a misconception.
I like that filmmaker, Damien Chazelle. He made La La Land and Whiplash.
Boy,
I'm a big fan of both of those.
Oh, well, I'm worse than Keith. He's seen it.
And the Miles kid, what's his name?
Miles Teller.
Oh, Miles Teller's in it. Is it the drumming movie?
Yeah, he's the drummer.
I absolutely hate Miles Teller. I'll never watch it. I'm not joking. I can't even look at his face.
Do you like J.K. Simmons, though?
I like him, but I can't stand Miles Teller at all.
Okay.
Every time I see him, I have this incredible urge to want to punch him in the face.
Then don't watch Too Old to Die Young. Then
I have the same feeling with Ryan Gosling too, unfortunately. So I'm gonna fight through that though, because my urge to want to punch somebody in the face is stronger for Miles Teller.
What did they do to you?
Nothing. It's just like I can't stand looking at him. It's like, you ever get that feeling with somebody? You just want to punch that fucking look off their or that face off their head.
No.
See, hey, look.
While we're talking about reffing shows, have you seen that Too Old to Die Young yet, Nate?
Yeah. He's that's the last thing Reffin did. All he's got. Was he doing Maniac Cop? Right, that's coming out soon.
That's what I heard. He's kind of attached to, but I haven't seen anything past that.
A remake of Maniac Cop? Is that?
I believe so. He's directing that.
Oh. I feel bad now that I said I want to punch him in the face.
He's I don't know. I can't say I'm a huge fan.
I don't think he's a very good actor.
Ryan Gosling, on the other hand, is one of my favorites.
Oh, I know he is.
Yeah.
But there's something about his smirk. I've only seen him in 2 or 3 things, and there's this smirk that he gives. It's like, come here, buddy. I don't know what it is, but I think the 2 roles I saw him in, weren't very likable. Like well, I'm not even gonna get into it.
I bet one of them was The Notebook.
Nope, it wasn't The Notebook. It
Elizabeth
was.
never notebooked you?
I've never seen that one.
Oh, yeah. That's surprising. Most of us guys
Which
have
one?
been notebooked.
Been notebooked.
Which films were they, Ray? You remember?
Oh God, I
She
probably
saw-
have to look it up. One of them is the one where he played The Nice Guys or something. Was that?
Oh, I love that movie. Nice guy.
Oh, yeah, with Russell Crowe. That's a good movie.
Yeah. Every time him and Russell Crowe got into a fight, I was like, kick his ass.
No one
Please.
wants to see your dick, dude. I love every time a kid.
Yeah,
There's another thing oddly about Ryan Gosling. Every time I've seen one of his movies, I've been in a bad place in my life because I saw that one while I was waiting for my wife to have an MRI on her brain. So that could be a part of it. Although it doesn't help that he still has a punchable face. Maybe it's also because my wife said he was really attractive. That's probably why.
There it is.
Fuck you, Ryan Gosling. My wife thinks you're attractive.
Blue Valentine was a movie I saw him in that just kind of floored me. Him and Michelle Williams. It's just a devastating movie. And then Drive came out like a year later and just kind of solidified. I was like, and everything he's done, Blade Runner, and
so I've yet to see Blade Runner. I like the original Blade Runner, whatever cut I saw, because there's like 30, isn't there? Anyway,
yeah.
20 is it the other one? 2049. I still have to watch that, whatever it's called. So anyway, we got off topic.
Babadook.
Let's reel it in.
Yeah, sorry. It's just the punchable face thing. You know,
like the little kid. You know?
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to mention
Little
about
Malcolm McDowell.
The mom was, other than the very ending of the movie, her one spell of happiness was whenever the guy says, "I'll take over your shift for you," and she goes to the mall or wherever it was and has an ice cream. Doesn't go home to the kid, and she looks like she's very happy. And it almost felt like it was like a dream-like state to me. I don't know, like there was the camera was a little fuzzier, you know, and everything was white, and it almost looked like it was seen through a different lens. Am I the one that picked up on that, or because she was happy for once? She seemed like she sat on that couch eating the ice cream or whatever it was. It looked very, very happy.
Yeah. I mean, she is kind of sleepwalking through everything. You know, Place Beyond the Pines is the guy that made Blue Valentine. Right, Ryan's good in that. The guy I hate it. I can't ever remember the guy's name. The guy that played the guy you said that was flirting with, the guy she worked with.
Yeah.
That guy did a movie called Snowtown. I think it's called Snowtown Murders over here. This guy, I highly recommend you guys check that out if you haven't seen Snowtown Murders. It's kind of borderline horror. It's based on true serial. He played a serial killer basically in the movie, but it was like he was dating this woman who had sons, and he despised homosexuals and pedophiles. Of course, now we all do pedophiles. But he had this really thing where he just hated them, so he just started murdering men who he suspected were gay or suspected. So basically, they murdered like 8 different people, and he would get the woman's sons involved, and there was just a series of murders. But his performance in that is one of the most disturbing and haunting, because he doesn't play it like a sinister, malevolent type person, because he looks like he does. You know, he looks like a nice guy. He looks like a regular dude, you know. But there's this like something in his eye, something that it was one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen. And I don't say that lightly. It was very hard to watch. And his performance, I've been like, why haven't I seen this guy again? Because I've only seen him in Babadook and that. Yes, Luke's seen it. Snowtown's fucking incredible. The kid who stars in it reminds me of Heath Ledger, and it's made in Australia. They're all Australian actors, but he reminded me, looks a lot, sounds like Heath Ledger. I was like, he must be related somewhere. But that guy is fucking a powerhouse in that movie. And
what is it called? What?
It's called Snowtown Murders.
Snowtown Murders.
The original title is just Snowtown, but it was a real case in Australia. But that when I saw him in that, I was like, finally, I've seen this guy in something else, because he blew me away in Snowtown.
Yeah, I'm looking at his. He's done a lot of television stuff, but not many movies. Ghost in a Shell. I guess the Americanized remake of that. Not much that I've ever heard of. Snowtown. I'll have to check that out. I got a whole list of movies I got to check out now because I've missed like these artsy fartsy movies that aren't horror.
Yeah, this one I don't know. It was an Australian film. A lot of people don't see stuff from over there. It's funny. Jennifer Kent said that this movie didn't do well in Australia, and she said there's kind of this. I didn't know. She said there's kind of this long tradition in Australia that they don't really respect filmmakers from Australia.
Really?
Like they're really big into shit from America and overseas. They don't give their homegrown talent as much respect. So this movie didn't really do well in Australia. And she said generally it's just not, they're not warm to Australian filmmakers for some reason over there.
So why was her house painted in all green tones?
Because I was going to bring that up. Yeah, their art direction in this, like the original film was in black and white, and this movie looks like black and white, but it's in color. And the art direction is guided by that. Even like the door frames are painted black. Yeah. And it's also because it's a depressing house. Like they're kind of stuck there in this house. And the lack of color, like I said, it's all blues, grays, blacks. A little like when there's reds, there's some reds, but it's burgundy. It's like a maroon, kind of a dark and like pale reds. So her life is colorless. Everything's colorless. So it kind of feeds into being in this cold, almost like medical kind of coldness. That lack of color kind of plays into the psychology and what they're trying to make you feel. And also the use of a lot of wide shots. They used a lot of wide lens and wide shots in the film to kind of make you look at the areas, the shadow areas, and what could be the Babadook's here, Babadook's there. That's another thing to mention is the practical. Everything's practical. Jennifer Kent doesn't like CGI, so everything's pretty much, I believe, in camera in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. She took a lot of her inspiration from George Melas, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the Babadook himself looks like German expressionist stuff. And they have that one scene where she's watching one of those German expressionist movies. Kill This, that's another good one.
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to ask what you guys thought of is the Babadook being gay. I'm not familiar with why. Does anybody have any idea? Like, I know they released the Blu-ray with the pride flag behind it.
From what I saw, is Netflix for some reason accidentally listed it under their LGBTQ lists on their channel, but it's not. I mean, that's why. So it's like that's why they adopted because of Netflix's accident. And how they categorize it for some reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember seeing it a few years later in a gay pride parade with like somebody holding a banner with the Babadook. I'm like, what the hell? Why are they holding the Babadook?
Because it really makes no sense based on the film. He represents grief,
right,
and loss, and I mean, I guess you could twist it in that, but from what I read, it's all because of Netflix, that little goof that Netflix did.
I mean, I don't care. At all.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's just it's strange. It's kind of fun that they have a symbol in horror, to identify with, and I guess Scream Factory leaned into it because they released a Blu-ray with the slipcover with the flag, the pride flag, which is kind of cool. But I never knew the story, and I know the director. There's always somebody calling me. Sorry. She really kind of like leaned into it as well and accepted it. I'm not sure because I guess there was I saw some because I looked it up. I looked up memes, but I couldn't really find any concrete reason why, except for the Netflix thing. I was like, is that it? Is that the whole reason? But yeah, the Babadook itself is creepy as hell. The one question I have about the Babadook itself. Is its look a manifestation of what she's seeing? Because it shows clips from old black and white movies,
She
throughout the
sees
movie.
that, and then there's that one scene where she sees her husband's clothes that the boy has set up, and it's a hat and jacket.
Yeah,
and all
that's
that.
right.
So it's like I think it's made up. Like it's one of my favorite days was she said that when she was trying to get it made, I guess the distributors or the money people were like, "So is it real or is it not?" And she just said, "Yes." And they said, "No. Is the Babadook a real thing or is it just a figment of her imagination?" She said, "Yes," and that's all she would give them.
All the above.
It's kind of a yes to all answers.
Yeah. So I dug that, but yeah, I mean, because we do see her like vomit up the Babadook because it gets into her and she starts doing all that crazy shit, attacking him and just going ape shit. So I don't know. I think you could take it. Is it real or not? I think sometimes ambiguity and both. Because she said, it's funny. I've heard people say that before. She said, well, they said you can't have both. It has to be one or the other. And she goes, well, The Shining had both. Was it real or was it fake? Was it real? And and they said, yeah, but you're not Kubrick. It's like, what does that mean? Like, yeah, I know I'm not Kubrick, but I've heard that people say, well, you're not this person or you're not that. You can't do that. Like, why can't I? Like, why do I have to explain or why does there have to be an answer? Why can't we be as mysterious as Kubrick was trying to be with The Shining? Because The Shining does work both ways. Was it haunted or was it not? Was it ghost or was it, what's going on with him? I wish I could get some hugs.
Yeah, Jared's getting hugs over here. Yeah, I mean, it's real. It's a manifestation of grief, and grief is real.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts of the entire movie, though, is getting rid of the book, it coming back, it adding pages. Like that to me was super cool. Have they ever put out the book?
They did.
The book in a second.
I read. It kind of kicked them out. They made 9,000 of them when they first came out and reproduced them. So
they sold out, and then they did a reproduction.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think it was like $80 when the movie first came out, and I wanted to do it, and I was like, oh, I just can't.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess I'm like was late to everything because I saw it on Netflix. I think it was 2015 when I saw it by that time. Before the Horror Syndicate, because I wasn't buying much horror stuff at that time. Not till I started dealing with my grief is really when I really got. That's why this room exists, because of my grief. Honestly, I wouldn't have a horror room if Elizabeth was still right here. Or the Horror Syndicate. No, the Horror Syndicate started when she was alive.
Because I think about going back to how she hid all her husband's things are in the basement. She keeps it locked, and she doesn't like her son being down there, and she doesn't want to face it. I guess like my mom lost her dad when she was 4, and she really didn't know him. He drowned when he was 30.
Oh wow!
And I found out that my grandmother didn't like to talk about him because they kind of it's split. And so it was too painful for my grandmother to talk about my mom's dad. And so my mom wanted to know about her dad, but my grandmother just didn't like talking about it. So she grew up with not only without a dad, but not really knowing who her dad was or not having that connection so it's basically the same way, not avoiding it or not sharing with your kids. So like her aunt, her dad's sister, was like her only resource of stories about who her dad was, and I saw that pain that my mom had when we were going through her attic and we found like his wallet that had that, what they give you their belongings that were on them at the time. And the wallet had like his driver's license and photos of her inside. And she just started crying and breaking down because that was the closest to her dad she had been since she was 4, And so the pain that I saw and the desperate, like how much she wished she had more information. So I think about that little boy that, he is said, he's just not allowed to have a dad, really, even in memory or in, like his dad is a ghost because his mom won't even doesn't want him even to be down there because it hurts her too much to face it. And so maybe that's why I'm sympathizing with the little boy a little more, because I get like he's got a mother who's not there, and he's got a father who he's not even allowed to learn about or remember. He never knew him. I mean, he never saw him, but it's just a heavy fucking movie, and it's one of the best. I like William Friedkin said it belongs up there with Psycho and all the great horror films, Rosemary's Baby and all that, in his opinion.
Yeah, and I could see why it does. I mean, it never will, though, unfortunately, because of the way horror fans are. Yes, offense, by the way. You know, we've talked about it many times about how people get stuck in slashers and, you know, the high profile horror movies, if you will, and things like this get kind of dumped on, and you know, and there's a lot of them, especially this last decade or so, that have been passed over because it's not Jason or Michael Myers or whatever. Nothing wrong with those movies either, you know. But I don't know. I think people should give this a second and maybe a third chance, as Keith so crudely put it towards me. Thanks a lot, Mandy. I gotta watch it.
Well, just the filmmaking alone, it's just so well done. It made for like I think $1.6 million. I mean, it's a low budget film, and it's just she knows what she's doing, and she's patient about it. She made her short film in 2005, and the feature came out in 2014. I mean, she was not only, you know, fighting to get it made, but she was so connected to that story that she still explored it 9 years later to keep going toward it.
You probably built on it quite a bit. I wonder how much she built it from the original story versus what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know as a creator, I feel douchey saying that, but as a creator, I know my stories have grown so much. I do. I feel douchey with like I put up a post on Facebook about my fans. I feel like such a douche. I'm just a regular dude. I'm not anybody special.
Well, it's only, to me, to say I'm only, as a creator, only as douchey when you're trying to say like that your opinion is better than somebody else's opinion.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like you're just saying, as a creator, I understand that.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't, but you relate to it because you're a creator. But to say, well, you're not a creator like I am, so you have no idea. You can't compare to me.
That's exactly what I'm saying to everybody out there who watches this. You have no idea. No. But like I get why. Off topic for a sec, but I get why George Lucas went back to the Star Wars movies to put his additions in there. I was talking on a podcast about it this weekend, and the guy was kind of arguing with me about it. I was like, he created something, he didn't have the technology, or he saw something different he wanted to do. I get it. I've done it in my comics. My comics that are even printed, I want to change a few things. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious. I've never seen the short. Is it available?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, just called Monster.
It's called Monster.
Yeah.
Just like the Charlize Theron film, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to watch that one sometime because I've never seen it. But I'm curious. I really like the Babadook. My question is, what took so long, Nate, for you to watch it again?
Just time. It's really what it is. Like, I've got such a stack of movies. So it's been one of those ones where I wanted to. I saw it at the store, bought it. And it's just jumped onto the stack of movies that I've got. And it wasn't, I didn't purposely avoid it or anything. It was just one of those things where, because there's so many movies I have that I like, when I bought it, I'm like, I can't wait to see this. And I still haven't watched it years later. I'm like, why haven't I just, because I'm always busy. It's just, if I don't have my movie, I have art. If I don't have art, I got family, I got UPS, so it's getting to where it's really hard for me to watch anything anymore. And sometimes when I do watch something, it's more of I need to relax. So when you want to relax, you don't want to put the Babadook on. You want to put on, something a little fun. I want something goofy right now, or I want to laugh, or I want something that's comfortable. So I'm going to throw on a movie that I already love that I don't have
or
to
The Office.
or that I'm gonna, or that I like if I fall asleep on it, it's not gonna matter because I've seen
Right.
it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about the show. It's brought me to revisit movies again. Like I'd seen Midsummer and Hereditary before, but I didn't. So those aren't movies. They're heavy movies, just like the Babadook. It's like you don't just say, "I'm going to watch Midsummer tonight." That sounds good, you know. I get exactly. I wanted to ask Seth what made him wait so long to see it. Is he frozen, Seth?
The Babadook.
Yeah.
The title.
The title.
I don't know. I'm pretty weird when it comes to titles and stuff. And I shouldn't be like that. I know you don't judge a book by its cover and stuff like that, but there was just something about it. I just was like, I don't care to see it. But also, just being a little stubborn and kind of being more of a nostalgia fan, I guess. Keep going back and back and back and back to movies I've seen a million times. You know, I my 20s, I would watch whatever movie. I mean, there's so many movies just by going randomly to a theater and just, you know, not seeing a trailer for something and just going in and seeing them. That's, you know, like Burn After Reading or Way of the Gun, stuff like that. You know, I've just whatever. But as I get older, as I'm in my 30s, I don't do that anymore for some reason. I don't take these chances. And, you know, there was, we've talked about before, there, you know, early 2000s horror movies were kind of not very good. So I didn't really take a chance on the ones that came out, you know, post 2010 on. But I'm almost caught up on a lot of them. You know, I'm liking what I see of this new age of horror. But yeah.
Yeah, I you know, it's that find a lot of me in that statement about in my 20s. I would say I was bored and I had nothing to do. I'd go see a movie even without seeing a trailer for it, and that's probably why some of these movies have like evaded me, like Drive, for instance. It's not really because of Ryan Gosling, but it's just I didn't realize it existed for the most part. I knew it was out there, but forgot about it. You know, and same thing with some of these horror movies. Like, I have a rule of a horror movie really has to grab me to go see it in the theater. It's always been the rule because I've been burned by so many in the theater, you know. And it's good. Cabin Fever is the reason I have that rule. Yeah, I know it's odd, but like my mom was okay. So let me set it up. My mom was in the hospital. She's like, she goes, go see a movie on me. Take your brother. And I'm like, okay. And Underworld was out, and I wanted to see that. It looked cool. Werewolves versus vampires, but I got to be honest, those movies are pretty boring. But I really wanted to see that. You know, Kate Beckinsale, super hot, leather, all that good stuff. And I was like, my brother's like, no, we got to go see this movie, Cabin Fever. I'm like, what is that? He's like, oh, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be like this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, what the hell? And so my friend Edgar calls me up. He's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I was like, we're going to go see a movie. He's like, what are you seeing? I was like, I guess Cabin Fever. He was like, oh, can I come? I'm like, you want to see it too? He's like, I've never even heard of this. And my brother shows me the trailer, and I'm watching. I'm like, oh, come on. So we went and saw it and get to the part where they get to the convenience store, and they see Dennis. And Dennis bites the guy, says pancakes real loud, starts doing kung fu. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? You know, and then everything else happens, and I'm like, this is a batshit crazy movie. I don't know that I like it. So then on my birthday, the following year, is right around when it came out on DVD, my brother bought it for me as a gag because he knows how much I hated it. I watched it again. I'm like, I still don't like this. And I saw there was a commentary with Eli Roth, and I listened to that, and bam, that was it for me. I loved it because of Eli Roth and the way he talked about the movie and what he talked about the movie Mother's Day. And that being one of his favorite movies, he was trying to get beat for beat like Mother's Day, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's not wrong. There's a lot that is like this movie." And that's where I found the story about him watching Raiders of the Lost Ark as like a 10 or 12-year-old in the theater, and the face melt scene made him throw up. I mean, this guy does a lot of gore, and he threw up. But that was the reason why I stopped going and seeing horror movies in the theater, was because the cabin fever was such a bad experience. Anyway, The Witch almost did the same thing to me, and not because of the movie, because of the experience of the people in the crowd. Sorry, that was just a rambling story. You guys needed to know that about me.
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth.
Yeah.
I like Eli Roth. He's okay in my book.
Yeah,
I love Cabin Fever, so
I do now. Cabin Fever is awesome. I love it now.
I love that. I love the two Hostel films.
Yeah.
And I loved them as, Donnie Donowitz and Glorious Bastards.
Yeah. He was good. He's great. He's a big fan of Italian horror, and Green Inferno. He credited all of the cannibal directors in that movie for what is it called? Inspiration. Joe D'Amato. What's his name? Ruggero
Deodato was actually one of the killers in Hostel 2.
Yeah, he put him, and he put Takashi Miike in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Takashi walks out and goes, "You'll spend all your money in there." It's like got the guy that made the audition, in here. So
good stuff, man.
Tarantino was supposed to play the one guy that is all excited and pumped up, he was from what movie was that guy in?
That seems like a Tarantino role.
Yeah. The guy's like, I can't wait to fucking get in there. I'm gonna do the one's blowtorching the girl. That's what that was supposed to be. Yeah.
We haven't talked about Eli Roth on the show. We're gonna have to fix that one of these days. I like Eli Roth stuff for the most part. I don't think he's a master of horror like he's been billed.
No. Well, and also I gotta get a shout out to Thanksgiving because I want to see that movie.
Yes.
The Thanksgiving trailer is perfect. He nailed that.
I mean, come on, they made Machete out of those trailers. They can make Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he talked about that the other night when he was on Joe Bob, and how he got he made the trailer based off of, I think, Argento trailer. I think it was Deep Red, Profondo Rosso. Excuse me. Profondo Rosso. Yeah. Anyway, I keep going off track because I guess I got a lot to say today about other things, not the Babadook. I do like the movie quite a bit. It's a really good movie. It is a deep movie, like you said, Nate, but it's definitely not one that you can just watch on a whim. That's probably why, Seth and myself go back to, our safety movies. Like today, the Beyond was released 40 years ago today in Italy, so I really want to watch that. It's on my mind really bad.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So anyway, is there anything else we want to say about the Babadook?
I don't know. I think there's anything else.
I definitely recommend it. The thing that sucks, and especially this day and age, is that one you have to buy if you want to see it, if you haven't seen it, because it's not streaming anywhere. Maybe to rent for $4 or $5, but you're going to have to pay to see it, and that might be another problem. Because when I saw it, it was streaming on Netflix, and honestly, if it wasn't streaming on Netflix, I may never have seen it. And Seth, did you have to buy it, or did you rent it?
Well, you can rent it on Amazon Prime, but I couldn't do that because my card canceled. So I found it through my on-demand service. It was available through AMC Plus. So I was able to watch it without commercials or anything like that. But yeah.
Indigo.
Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, well, before we jump off of it, I took it to Jared's scene at that the Nightingale, her second film. Highly recommend that film. It's I don't know what year it's set in, but it's in Australia back.
Yeah, it's 1820 something.
Yeah, where this young woman who's a criminal, she has a husband and child, a baby. I think they're Irish. When they sent all the criminals down there to Australia. And so they're under this British, military command and I won't go into the details, but it's a very harsh, cruel, brutal film where she's done wrong and she goes off seeking revenge against this soldier officer who did what he does to her and her family. Mm-hmm. And she kind of it's also very heavily about the Aboriginal, what they went through, and so she kind of hooks up with this Aboriginal tracker to help her
Yeah.
through this to hunt this guy down, and it's. I think I like it more than the Babadook personally.
Mm.
I don't. They're both phenomenal, but I guess I'm a revenge film buff, and I think that's just why it appealed to me. But it's a hard movie. Yeah.
Sometimes when you guys mention these movies that I've never seen or heard of, I used to think of myself as a film buff. I don't think I am anymore. I think I'm a film Keith.
I think the Nightingale is streaming. I could be wrong. I think it's on one of the streaming channels.
Let me check real fast. The Nightingale.
Nightingale. Yeah, I bought the Blu-ray after I saw it because it was just like I have to own this one.
Let's see here. Is it streaming?
It's a 2.5 hour.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu. It's a 2.5 hour movie, so it's not a short watch, but it's like a big Western epic. She said she was very inspired by war films. That's what she was looking at. She Come and See was the biggest influence of Russian film, which is another one you probably haven't seen. It's kind of starting to get known, but it's a Rush. It's probably one of the most disturbing war films ever made. I think it was from Russia.
No, Keith. No, I've still seen more movies than you. I'll never let that come to pass. I'll spend a whole week to make sure I watch every movie I can. No. So let's do some final thoughts on the Babadook for the afternoon, evening, whatever it is. Who did I say before? Jared? Seth, what are your final thoughts from the first? And are you planning on watching it again? Do you need 3 times to watch it?
Well, all right. My final thoughts are: I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I'm glad I watched it. I do want to watch it again at some point in the future. I don't know if I can how soon I can do that. Because it's a little too much to take. Do I think I need 3 chances? No. I mean, that's I didn't get to mention it before when it was brought up. It's kind of funny how most of the modern horror films that we've been talking about, most of them are ones that they're so layered now that you do need multiple viewings to kind of really take everything in and just kind of peel back the layers. Where back in the day you didn't need to do that. I mean, X is pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? So I think it's just kind of interesting now that movies like Hereditary and It Follows and Midsummer and this and whatever, they have so much that at least 2 times. But this isn't a movie I don't think that I'm gonna watch a lot in my life. Yeah. I don't know if I'll order it. I don't know if I'll own it or whatever. Maybe in 2, I'll revisit it. But it was a movie I liked, but I didn't overly love. I know you guys seem to really love it, it's just the general thing, I guess, with this movie is you either love it or you hate it. I don't get the hate for it at all. I think there's a lot of value to it.
You might have something there about a lot of horror and what's really popular with horror fans are films that you can watch again and again and again and again. And yeah, these movies aren't that type of movie. They're not these type of films. I love these movies. I've seen The Witch maybe 3-4 times. I've seen this twice. I've seen It Follows maybe 3 times, 4 times. Like, they're not movies that Hereditary and Midsummer, they're not movies you put on because you want to chill and have that nostalgia bug or feel good.
I almost have to prepare myself to watch.
You have to prepare. They're like when I watched The Exorcist when I was young, or I had to be in the mood and build myself up to put those. I couldn't just throw those on to say, "Hey, I need something to fall asleep to tonight. I'm gonna put on, Nightmare 4." Like, yeah,
Well, that's okay to do.
I think I'll put the Babadook on.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I'll fall asleep to Midsummer and fall asleep right in the sacrifice part.
because so much of this culture and this community is about those movies we've seen over and over and over that we have action figures for, and we have tattoos and T-shirts and everything. So I don't know if these movies relate to them, to that culture, to that Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael culture of fandom.
How many go to a convention? How many Babadook T-shirts do you see? How many cosplays of these characters from Midsummer or even anything, any kind of swag? You don't see that stuff. They're littered with Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, Pinhead, and Leatherface. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what people like. I like it. Most of the reason why we're watching horror because of those people, those characters. But I do think that there's a problem, and I think we need to make a list of movies from the last decade or so, because the whole multi-layered ness of these movies compared to, there was no layers to Jason Goes to Hell or whatever. What's that?
Well, that would be my final thought, would be that these are filmmakers who are tackling themes, and they're using genre to tackle these themes. Yeah. They're not all necessarily horror fanatics. Like, Ari Aster's not some big horror fan, and Robert Eggers isn't some big horror fan, but they realize that you can tackle these themes of loss or grief or family, destructive family, all these things that they're tackling in these films through genre, so that it's not lame melodrama stuff. Like, it's not like Oscar bait type movies, like they're able to explore it through this genre of horror that just has limitless possibilities, because it doesn't have to exist in a real world. They can play with, is it real, is it not, is it all these things that you can only accomplish in horror in this genre.
The funny thing is, you say Oscar bait, but some of these feel like they should be worthy of Oscar, of Hereditary especially.
They're overlooked because they're too. Yeah. The people who the Academy and the people who vote on this don't want to sit through those movies because they don't like violence and gore and horror. Like, the people are turned off by that. Most people don't want to watch The Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything like that. So even if it's a great film, it's not something they want to sit through because it's just not their wheelhouse.
No, and that's a situation we've talked about. Horror gets a bad rap for just because of what it is for the most part. Jared, final thoughts?
I liked it.
Cool. Me too. It's good. I like it. The odd thing is, like Nate, you were wondering about how I felt with dealing with some of the same things she was dealing with. I've dealt with everything opposite of the way she has after losing my wife. And there was a time that I was told. So my wife, she had brain surgery, if anybody didn't know that, while pregnant with my daughter, and they asked me, another phone call. They asked me straight up, if we have to save one or the other, who would you choose? So I've had to deal with something like that. I'll never tell anybody what I said, by the way. So I get it, but I've dealt with kind of the same things, especially grief. I've been grieving for 4 years for my wife who passed away, almost 7, because she was diagnosed, and we knew she was going to die the whole time. Those last 3 years she was alive, or 2 years she was alive. So I kind of felt, but I've dealt with it. Sometimes I wonder now if, like, the Babadook kind of I watched that thinking, don't deal with it this way. Like, especially the way she dealt with the kid and the memory of the father was almost not there at all. And I do the complete opposite with my kids. I talk about their mom all the time because I want them to know who she was. And I obviously love my kids. But I don't think the Babadook should be ever taken for first of all for the kid. I see that all the time. The damn kid was annoying or it was too slow. I think you should really take a look at put your phone down first of all, right, Nate? Talk about that constantly. Put your phone down, watch the damn movie, and try to understand it.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie, and I keep saying that because I like if Elizabeth didn't tell me that, I'll be completely transparent. I may not have ever got that the Babadook was basically her dealing with her grief. May have never known that, but whenever she told me that, it blew my mind. And I'm talking about fucking brain particles on the wall. Like she blew the hell out of my mind when I thought about that, and I played back the movie in my head. And anybody who's ever dealt with grief, watch this movie. It really can speak to you, I think, in many ways. Babadook's a great movie, and I do think we need to make a list of movies. And Mother was another one we didn't mention that kind of belongs in the same area because I thought that movie was fantastic. Holy, what a fucking ride that movie is, you know? And that's the thing. Like some of these movies, you get kind of emotional. You don't get that with Freddy. You know, I love Freddy. Don't get me wrong. Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror movie of all time. But some of these movies kind of push you through the ringer with emotions. You know?
I walked out of Mother just I don't want to say devastated, but I just felt something that I don't normally feel when I get out of a movie theater. Like there was just
what was that feeling like?
Just that last half hour was just so like I think my heart was racing. I just felt like I felt it through my whole body, like just this overwhelming, just whoa.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Mother, it was an insane thrill ride. And I don't remember. I know we did an episode on that. Seth, were you around for that one?
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, man, that's just we definitely need to make a list, and I think we need to do a list show of like 10 misunderstood movies or something like that, because I think that people need to give these movies another chance, maybe with different eyeballs and maybe a different mind. But I don't know. Go see the Babadook if you haven't seen it. Rent it, buy it, whatever you need to do. It's definitely worth putting eyes over again. And I think we need to do an Eli Roth episode. What do you guys think? Nate, tomorrow I'm going to be mailing these two off to you, by the way.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd be down for an Eli Roth episode. That'd be fine.
I will say I haven't been a fan of his later work, but that early stuff I did like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've seen anything newer past Green Inferno, but like movies like Hostel 1 and 2. Did you know there's a Hostel 3?
Yeah, but he didn't do that one.
No, he
wasn't
didn't.
part of that.
It wasn't very good.
He
But
also
like,
did that Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves too.
Yeah, and there's also 3 Cabin Fevers total, I think. But Cabin Fever, Hostel 1 and 2, and then Green Inferno are the main 3 for me, or 4 for me, if I can learn to count. I think that'd be fun to talk about those and revisit all of those. Because honestly, I've seen these cannibal flicks, the Italian ones, but Green Inferno bugs me for some reason. Like it's one that I really have to.
I didn't like that movie.
I can see why. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the cannibal craze. My brother-in-law keeps like pushing these movies on me. He just bought me like the Cannibal Apocalypse or some shit, and he's like, "You need to have this." And he's like, "I'm gonna find you Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals" or something like that. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna buy them for me, I'll take them. So I did like Cannibal Ferox and Buried Alive, Eaten Alive. So
Eaten Alive, yeah.
Those are more like regular Italian horror movies. But anyway, got Italian horror movies on the brain because I want to watch The Beyond. So yeah, we'll do another show. I don't remember what we're doing next week. You guys remember? I forgot already.
It's 28 days later.
Is it 28 days later? Oh,
I think so.
Those 2 movies I haven't seen in a long time because for some reason my copies look like garbage for 28 days later. I have a DVD and a Blu-ray, and they both look like shit. So, and that actually was the first movie, like for real, I saw with my wife. We saw it at a Halloween party together because her brother got a bootleg of it in 2003, and we watched it, and I barely watched the movie because I was looking at her the whole time. So, anyway, want to thank everybody for watching. Thank everybody for hanging out with us. Seth, I hope you enjoy Elvis. He's gonna watch. Is that 4 hours long?
Are you gonna watch Elvis?
Yeah.
What's
Have
that?
you seen that? Have you seen Elvis?
Yes, I am. I haven't seen it yet. It's the only John Carpenter movie I have not seen.
It's a great
And I
one.
was
It doesn't.
right before the show.
Yeah, I saw you post about it before the show, and it's a long movie, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it goes by.
Yeah.
Does it?
It's fast paced because it covers his whole career and like even before he's a star and all that. So it's
Well, those biopics about like even the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, and then that movie's very false, but that movie went by fast. And The Doors, that's one of my favorites. I like The Doors quite a bit.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to watch Elvis one day. There's many John Carpenter movies I haven't seen. One in particular, and then Elvis, of course. So Keith says Eli Roth has directed 7 movies and there's one in production. And then yes, 28 days later. Oh, there we go. Hey, we've got the kindred thing. Anyway, thanks again for watching the show. We hit 666 subscribers today. 666. Yeah, everybody have a good evening and enjoy whatever movie you're going to watch tonight because it's going to be the Beyond for me. Fulci lives, right? Don't forget Joe Bob's on tomorrow.